Welcome back to Introduction to Programming. This is video 23 in our series. My name is John Dwayne. Today we continue our coverage of user interface. This is a really big topic, and we are only going to cover the basics in this series. But think about it. User interface is all most people ever see when they log into a website or run a desktop application. Move away from business, and now you have even more interesting UIs. Think about Google search. On the face of it, an extremely simple and uncluttered UI. That is a conscious design decision on their part. Absolutely brilliant. Contrast that with ESPN.com or almost any free news website. They have news stories, photographs, video, advertising, stuff moving around, and a seemingly endless number of pull-down menus. Still very good, but different from Google search. And then in a world all its own are games, the ultimate in user interfaces. If there's interest, I may devote an entire series to more complex UIs, but for now we'll stick to the basic interface approaches that work in the business world. Last time we talked about some basic UI design principles that work in business. And we quickly went over a list of controls that VB and VBA programs contain. And in all honesty, most other programming languages have the same controls. Maybe the names are slightly different, but they're pretty much the same. Let's show that list. We did an example last time of a UI that was made up of a worksheet in an Excel workbook. That particular UI had some command buttons, but that was about it from this list. Today we'll see more of that when we do something a little more sophisticated by making a Windows form. Remember this? Today we will replicate this in a Windows form. We'll have a title, general description of what we're doing. We'll have some text boxes, which will be controls, that will have a date and a message. We'll have command buttons again. And all of this will be in a Windows form, but it will basically look kind of like this, except less like a worksheet and more like a window. So let's get rid of this, and we'll open up a blank worksheet, and we'll get going. So don't save, and I have here user interface 2. We'll go to the interactive development environment, and here we are. So right now we just have a blank editing environment. Instead of inserting a module as we normally would, this time we're going to insert a user form. So click there, and here's our user form. We can resize this, longer, wider. This is really our design surface. So it is upon this surface that we will drag different controls and create our window. So a few other things here on the in the IDE, a toolbox which has the controls. See, they're labeled controls. The Solution Explorer exists still, and then over to the side here we have our properties window. So let's start building our form. First we're going to drag some label controls onto the form. So in that one I'm going to have John D Programming. On this one I'm going to have user interface demonstration. Then below that, two more labels. Again, these are just labels. They don't do much besides describe or have a place where text can be displayed. So those are the labels. This is going to be a text box. Text box is a control in which the user can type and basically supply information to the program. Down here is a command button. We'll draw the command button here, and we're going to actually put another one in there too. Two command buttons. And so now we have all the controls on the screen that we're going to use. So I'm going to close the toolbox. Not going to need that anymore. But now this is kind of messy. It's clearly not done. So let's do a little more with the artwork here. I'm going to highlight the entire form itself. That is a control also. I'm going to over here change the name of the form to FRM main. So that'll be the name of the control in code, and then the caption at the top of the form, we'll call this UI demo, and notice that appeared up there right away. Let's go to this label. We don't have to change the name because we won't be manipulating this in code, but here we can put in our text, John D. Programming, and then once I click away from it, it'll appear there. That's not quite big enough, so down in the font property I can make that somewhat bigger, and I think I'll make it bold and maybe make it 14. Ah, yeah, that's nice. Down below it, we'll call this one UI demonstration, and of course I've got caps on, so that's gonna look dumb, so let's take caps off and do it like that. UI demonstration. Still kind of small, so let's change the font there. Bold, but now I think we'll make this 12. Very good. Now that I see how big these are going to be, I can resize the box, or the label itself, to fit the text. And then what's kind of nice, up here in Format, I can center that label on the form horizontally. Nice. And I'll do the same with this. Center in the form horizontally. So that looks good. Alright, let's work on these labels. This is going to be date. So again, I don't need to change the name of the label. I'm just going to change the caption. So we'll put date there for that one. That small font is just fine. This is going to be message. And again, all these labels are doing is describing what these text boxes are going to be. So now we can size these properly. Like so. And you can kind of drag them right over like that. Now the text boxes, I do need to give these names because we'll be manipulating these in code. Text box will begin with TB, and this will be TB date, and there's nothing in it at the moment. That's fine. The height on this one is 24. I think I want to make it 20 because then I also want to make the height of this text box 20. So one was too big, one wasn't big enough, so now they're about the same size. The date doesn't have to be quite as wide as the message, so I'm going to push that out a bit. And then what's kind of nice, I can, with the Shift key, highlight both of these at the same time and center these in the form horizontal. No, I guess I don't want to do that. We'll leave it like that. These edges are lining up, so all that looks okay. Now, command buttons. Let's highlight both of those, and with the format pull-down menu, I can make them the same size both ways. So now they're the same size, but they're not quite lined up. So now I'll center them into form horizontal. Oh yeah, I just can't do that. I'm going to leave them like that, and we'll just sort of click away. Can lower that one. So now they're right about in the same latitude and longitude. That's good. So now let me highlight it and take care of the properties. So I name these with BTN as the beginning, and we'll call this one Go. And the caption will be Go. This one we will give it the name BTN Exit, and the caption will be Exit. Terrific. I'm going to highlight both of them, and I believe I can do the font at the same time on both of these. So we'll do bold 12. There we go. Nice. Alright, so there's our form. I think it's a little light in color, so I'm going to highlight the entire form itself, and back color, let's make it, I don't know, how's that? Too dark. Let's, how about that? No, still too dark. Let's go look for something a little nicer. Ah. No. As you can see, you can make it them a lot of different colors. Kind of depends on what what's appropriate in your environment. Let's leave it like that. So now let's save that and run it, and you'll see. Oops. So there's our form. Right now it doesn't really do anything because I haven't connected it to any programming logic, but there's our form. This button up here does work though, X in the upper right hand corner. So we're going to leave it here for now. In the next video I'll show you how to write the code behind this form to make it actually do some useful work. So we'll see you next time.